Hello, friends. Welcome to the Karmic Guidance channel. So, the US elections are now around the corner, and now I will be doing the analysis of the presidential candidates. And the first of the candidates is Kamala Harris, who is competing for the US presidential race. So, will Kamala be the president of USA? What does astrology says? If you look at a chart has several powerful points. First of all, you will immediately see two Parivartana yogas. So the third and the fifth house here. The third house ruler is Sun, and the Sun is in the fifth house. And the fifth house ruler is the Venus, and Venus is in the third house. So there is a Parivartana yoga is happening here. And then there is another Parivartana yoga, which is the second house ruler, which is Moon is in the 11th house, and the 11th house ruler, which is Mars, is in the 4th house. Two Parivartana yogas. This makes a chart very, very powerful. If anyone has studied Indira Gandhi's chart, she had three Parivartana yogas in a chart. So these are very powerful yogas to take a person up in political and otherwise leadership positions. However, these Parivartana yogas are not without blemish. If you observe, in the first Parivartana yoga between the Venus and the Sun is in the sign of Libra and is debilitated. Similarly, the second Parivartana yoga, the Mars is in the sign of Cancer and is debilitated. So, the Parivartana yogas are not without blemishes. They are not perfect, they are not to the highest potential, but they will still give the results. The second powerful thing is that the Rahu is a very very powerful planet, graha. Rahu is exactly right on the ascendant. 1 degree 3 minutes is the ascendant, and 1 degree 8 minutes is Rahu, right on the ascendant, right? And Rahu is in the sign of Mercury, Gemini. Now, Gemini sign, many people consider Rahu to be exalted in Gemini. Many people call it Multrikon sign or own sign, whatever you call it. But Gemini is one of the signs where Rahu performs very, very well, and it gives very good results. So look at this powerful Rahu, and this alone is good enough, right? Being on the same degree as the ascendant, it's powerful enough to give you a Raj Yoga, to exalt the chart to the topmost position. These degrees matter a lot. Only having Rahu in the first house doesn't matter that much. But look at the conjunction with the ascendant. This is extremely powerful. Third, if you look at the fifth house, you have Sun and Mercury making a Buddha Aditya Yoga. A Buddha Aditya Yoga is not uncommon. You can see in most of the charts, but why this one is powerful is because of two reasons. One is that Buddha Yoga is being formed with the Lagna Lord. So Mercury is the Lord of the first house. So if Lagna Lord is participating in a powerful yoga like a Buddha Yoga, then it becomes very effective. Secondly, the Sun, the Buddha Yoga, when it is formed in fifth house, then also it becomes powerful. So a Buddha Yoga to be powerful, either it has to be somehow associated with the fifth house or the first house. So either Sun or Mercury are ruler of the fifth house, or the Buddha Yoga is forming in the fifth house, or Sun and Mercury are ruler. Either of them are ruler of the first house, or it is forming in the first house. So somehow the first and fifth association should be there. So that is when the Buddha Yoga becomes extremely powerful. However, this again comes with the blemish that Sun is debilitated. So again, it's not perfect, it's very close to perfect. Now, the next powerful point about her chart is that if you look at the Sun, 4 degree 26 minute, and Moon again 4 degree. Sun and Moon right opposite to each other. This is full full moon to the last minute. This is exactly the point of full moon. In Sanskrit, it's called Purnima, and to the last degree again. Moon is the brightest right now at its brightest level. If at the time of her birth, her parents would have taken a photograph of the moon, it would be shining like a 100 watt light or something in the sky, making the night uh, very bright and shiny and peaceful and giving happiness. So a very powerful moon because of exact opposite degree. It's the most powerful position that it can get into. So Purnima born, full moon born are also considered to be very very lucky and fortunate, and this is again making her chart extremely powerful. However, her chart has some negatives also. Already mentioned, Sun is afflicted, it's debilitated. Not only it's debilitated, it is aspected by Mars and Rahu. So two benefics and two malefics, when they start aspecting any planet or house, then there is a red flag. I mean, if there is a malefic, then it's a red flag. If it's the two benefics, then it's a very positive sign. So here two malefics are aspecting Sun. Now, why Sun is important? Sun is the kingmaker. Sun is itself the king. So if you want to be at the top position, you need to have good Sun, and the Sun is not that powerful. Sun is actually debilitated, aspected by Mars in Rahu, and Sun is in fifth house. And in the fifth house, you also have that rule of Karakobha Nashaya. That means that Sun, being a significator of the fifth house, residing in the fifth house, will damage this house. And fifth house is also for ministry. So the Sun is actually, I would probably like to see a powerful sun in a US president's chart, and this is what I am not seeing. This is not very satisfying. Although, what makes sun still, what makes it not that bad is it's not situated in 3, 6, 8, and 12 houses. So it's in a good house, Trikona house, and it's participating in a Parivartan Yoga, so that gives the sun some kind of a strength, but it's not that good. Secondly, if you look at the ascendant lord, which is the Mercury, and Mercury is combust. Ascendant lord, Mercury is most of the time combust, but you also have to look at as an ascendant lord, and ascendant lord, if it is combust, that means its qualities, its characteristics are hidden behind the sun, and sun itself is not that powerful. So the true true presence of the native becomes blemished. It's an underperformer. It doesn't the word doesn't see the true capabilities, and that's not a good sign. Not only the sun, but the Lagna Lord, ascendant Lord, is also afflicted by Mercury and Rahu. Two malefics are directly, aspecting it. So this also makes the ascendant Lord weak. So again, combust, plus aspected by two malefics, the ascendant lord is considerably weakened, and that makes her not that strong in her personality. Her personality doesn't when she stands in the crowd, she doesn't enthrall the crowd. She doesn't have that kind of a aura that people are mesmerized and influenced by her. The next thing is that the ninth house. If you look at the ninth house, Saturn is sitting in the ninth house. Right. So what Saturn? Saturn is also retrograde. Now, although Saturn is in his own sign, and it is said that the planets, don't damage their own house. This is an exception with Saturn. So when Saturn is in its own sign, whether Capricorn or whether Aquarius, Saturn still damages the house. The Saturn's case is an exception. It's really harsh planet. So Saturn on Capricorn and Aquarius would definitely damage it. The only thing we can say is that the damage is not to the extent that it would be had it been in any other house. So in our own house, it will still cause some damage. So Saturn in ninth house is a blocker for good fortune. Not only that, Rahu is aspecting the ninth house and also Saturn. Not only that, Mars is aspecting the ninth house and Saturn. So this ninth house is extremely afflicted. Now, if you see, ninth house also represents father, and her father was also an outsider, and that you can see from Rahu's aspect. Father was an outsider. Now, the relationship was not bad, but her parents divorced when she was young. She stayed with her mother, and then later on, she would spend weekends with the father, and she was raised by her mother, and then other things happen in the family. But without going into all those details, what is happening is the father is afflicted, the fortune is afflicted. The reason she was able to meet her father on weekends was because Saturn is in its own house. Had it been some other house, it would have been a complete separation. But it's a separated planet. Mars, Rahu, Saturn, ninth house, the house of fortune, luck is not supporting her. Next point is that of a concept called Avayogi. Avayogi is a Shashadri Iyer an idea by Shashadri Iyer of yogi and Avayogi. I will not get into the definition, but Avayogi is anti-yogi. It's not a positive thing. Being a yogi planet makes the things positive, and in her chart, Mercury is an Avayogi planet. So ascendant lord itself is an Avayogi, and that also is not favoring her. So the afflictions on the sun and the ascendant combined with the afflictions of ninth house is actually creating troubles and hindrances for her presidential. Now, one last thing is that moon. In the last slide, I was talking about the powerful moon at 4 degree, but this moon is not that good for this horoscope. One, it is being aspected by Saturn. Secondly, Moon is the lord of second house, and the second house is also Maraka. Moon is not a favorable planet for Gemini, neither is Sun. And if an unfavorable planet is very strong and is aspected by Saturn, it's not a good thing for the chart. Had Moon been a lord of a Kendra or Trikona, this would have been a very good sign. But with being a lord of a Maraka house, this moon will not do good for this chart. Secondly, this moon is in exaggerated. Now, what is exaggerated? Exaggerated is a point where you are at a level where things are not controlled, unstable. So if moon is unstable means she might have a lot of thinking issues, overthinking issues, over confusion in her mind, and instability emotionally and mentally. She's not able to have a very stable thinking process and convincing power, emotional connects, and all those things might be missing. So this could also go wrong. Moon is also Moon is also public mass, the masses, and the masses are in exaggerated mode. So the moon may not be able to give, or it can give unpredictable results in this chart. If you look at the Dasha and transits, the she's going through Rahu Dasha. Now, what better can it be? Rahu, as we saw, was the most powerful thing that she had in a chart, unblemished in Gemini, exactly at the ascendant degree. So Rahu Dasha is going to give her positive results. And it was only in this Dasha that she also got to become an acting president when Biden was hospitalized. So the power to get that seat, get that chair, is there in the chart. Rahu is the planet that can give her the place, the the position where she wants to be. When you look at the Venus, as we saw, is the Lord of fifth house, and is in a Parivartana Yoga in third house. It's a very positive. It's in the third house. It's a Dusthana and aspected by Saturn. So it's not like unblemished support, but the support is good. So Venus is also a positive thing. And when I look at the transition, especially of the Rahu, right? So Rahu is transiting the uh, Pisces sign, and Rahu in Pisces is not a very favorable condition. Pisces, especially in although it's a tenth house, but Rahu being a Mahadasha Lord in Pisces is not very comfortable. So if the Mahadasha Lord in this period is not comfortable, it will not give the positive results as are expected. Had Rahu been transiting Gemini or Taurus, the prediction would have been different. But Rahu transiting Pisces as a Mahadasha Lord is affecting the results of Mahadasha and may not go, which may not go in favor of her. So, what's the prediction? The prediction is that clearly it's a challenging battle, despite the strength of the chart. So, chart is clearly powerful, but that is extreme challenge. Now, because her sun is not in a good position, what happens with debilitated sun is that even if you deserve it, you won't get it. The throne is not for you. And I have made a video on debilitated sun. It's in Hindi, but if you look at Hillary Clinton, if you look at Bill Gates, if you look at Leonardo DiCaprio, if you look at some other debilitated sun, the charts of debilitated sun, who were born in October 15 to November 15 period, they somehow do not get the recognition with which they deserve, although their talent might be much better than most of the other people. Hillary Clinton, debilitated son, could not make it to the finals. I could not win the election. Bill Gates, debilitated son, he is not the CEO. He is the CTO of Microsoft. He was the CTO. There was a time when he became a CEO in 90s, he got a lot of court inquiries. He had to appear in court and he had to answer a lot of questions. So son, tabulated son, if they get a position at a top position, they will be challenged. So that position will not suit them, because that position will be where they will be challenged, there will be questions, there will be a decline in popularity, people will not like it, there will be a lot of scrutiny around it. So ideally she will not win, but if she wins, it will be like a panic victory. She will be seeing a lot of decline in her popularity, and there will be a lot of scrutiny in her presidency.